Jones.
Thank you for calling me, Madam Chair. I'm sorry not to be able to contribute to this debate in person, but laryngitis means I have to stay at home in Brackenshire, and so I apologise if my voice does not last the duration of this speech. Like many others, I want to start by congratulating the business managers for the timing of this bill. But in reality, every week should be Armed Forces Week. Honouring those who have served, as well as those who continue to serve, should not be a one-off event. I'm excessively proud of the UK Armed Forces, but in particular those based in my constituency, at Brecon Barracks, Senny Bridge Training Area and the Infantry Battle School. Not least, the soldier I live with, and here I declare an interest in that my partner is a serving member of the British Army. Like so many this weekend, I will be joining Armed Forces Day events in the constituency. I am particularly looking forward to meeting the daughter of a true British hero in Builth Wells on Saturday. Violette Sabo initially joined the Women's Land Army when war broke out, and later the Auxiliary Territorial Services in 1941. She worked for F Section in the Special Operations Executive, but during a mission in France, she was captured and imprisoned by the Nazis. She was executed in Ravensbrück concentration camp and posthumously awarded the George Cross, the highest honour given to civilians. Walking along the embankment in London, honourable members will see a statue to Violette, one of the very few military women to be commemorated. And I'm deeply excited to be meeting her daughter, who now lives in Kilmary in my constituency, and to have the opportunity to pay tribute to her mother and to all those who have served and continue to serve. Madam Chair, there is much to welcome in this bill, which will make a meaningful difference to the lives of serving personnel and veterans. However well-intentioned they may be, or thoughtfully suggested by the same focus groups which advised the leader of the Labour Party to start valuing the military, I won't be supporting the opposition's amendments today. I particularly want to single out Clause 8 of the bill, which strengthens the commitment to the Armed Forces Covenant. The Covenant is 10 years old this year and is something which we should all hold dear. And Madam Chair, I must also declare another interest. My partner's mum is the Chief Executive of the Armed Forces Covenant Trust. His is something of a military family. Clause 8 compels public bodies to have due regard to the Covenant, and I would urge my local authority, Powys County Council, and the Labour-run Welsh Government to pay close attention to this clause. At present, Powys County Council is proposing to close Llanbedr School, which is a thriving primary school in my constituency. Along with my colleague in the Welsh Parliament, James Evans, I am deeply opposed to the closure of the school, but it's largely because of a number of military families who will once again find themselves displaced. This is deeply wrong. I spoke to a mum whose partner has recently started a 2-year posting in Brecon. If Llanbedr closes, they will be forced to find yet another school for their 3 children. In campaigning against the school's closure, I have tried to learn more about the Welsh Government's plans for military families. I was directed to a specialist website, which does not work. You simply cannot find out what the Welsh Government wants to do for military families who are searching for a consistent education as they move around the United Kingdom and even abroad. I know the Minister is powerless to keep the school open, but I would be keen to meet with his officials to learn more about how the UK Government and Welsh Government could be working together to ensure that military families can rely on uninterrupted education. Madam Chair, I cannot let the Minister escape without yet another plea for the decision to close Brecon Barracks to be reversed. His colleague, the Minister for Defence Procurement, has kindly heard me a number of times and knows I warmly welcome the commitment to keep 160 Brigade in Brecon itself, but I will have to continue to bang on until this nonsensical decision is reversed. Brecon Barracks is an integral part of the defence estate in Wales. It is the home of the Army in Wales, and it deserves a permanent home, one which is fit for the future and honours its history. The Minister was in Wales this week, and I am deeply grateful to him for his visit. It shows his commitment to the armed forces across this union and his willingness to ensure that Wales is not left behind. But with the number of service personnel and veterans living and working in Brecon and Radnorshire, I am concerned that the Welsh Government is content for them to be left behind. We have a large veteran population in Wales, around 140,000, but still we are the only nation in the UK not to have a dedicated commissioner for veterans. This year at the St David's Day debate, the Secretary of State for Wales confirmed that he was actively exploring ways in which the UK government could establish Wales's first Veterans Commissioner. However, the ball is now in the Welsh Government's court, and since February, nothing has happened. In Wales, we have 8 Armed Forces liaison officers who do fantastic work, but without one overarching commissioner, there is no one to ensure that mental health provision, for example, is consistent for those who live in Ystrad as those who live in Wrexham. And at this point, I do want to pay tribute to my colleague, the Honourable Member for Wrexham, who has done so much work on this issue. So can I urge the Minister to continue his engagement with the Welsh Government and get them to put the interests of veterans in Wales above the need to constantly frustrate the Conservative government in Westminster? Madam Chair, I was incredibly moved to see a large parade of veterans streaming through Brecon a few weeks ago. They were there to support the former soldiers who faced prosecution following their service in Northern Ireland. While I couldn't join them in person on the day, I give them my full support. These vexatious prosecutions must end. Without any new evidence, there is no justification for the continued harassment of former soldiers. The Northern Ireland Select Committee, of which I am a member, this morning heard from the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland, who confirmed that he would be bringing forward a bill shortly. But shortly is too slow. We cannot waste any more time. It wasn't appropriate to include Northern Ireland veterans in the Overseas Operations Bill for the very obvious reason that Northern Ireland is part of the United Kingdom. But there must be no further obstacles to this legislation. All serving personnel should be treated equally, and it is more than time that the government righted the wrongs done to those who served in Operation Banner. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
We now go